Moonlight is a character drama that focuses on the story of a boy called Jharrel and 3 key periods in his life. This film is split into 3 stages of Jharrel at different ages in his life, and the film basically follows the character of Jharrel as he struggles to come to terms with who he is and finding himself as a man in this very difficult kind of environment where, you know, it's very tricky for him to grow up in that kind of environment around those kind of people, discovering who he actually is. Now, when I first heard about this film months ago, I was actually really interested and I couldn't wait to check it out. But when I first heard of what it was actually about, what the subject matter was, I've got to be honest with you, I initially was a bit put off. I just didn't think I was going to be able to really relate to the film. I didn't think it was going to be like my kind of film. But in short, I'm really glad I decided to give this film a shot because I heard nothing but amazing things about it. So I thought, I've just got to see this film. I've got to see what the fuss is about, and I'm really glad I did because for me this film was just absolutely extraordinary. This is not only a really important film that I think should be seen and deserves to be supported, but it is also, in my opinion, nothing short of a masterpiece. Barry Jenkins, the director, deserves to be commended so much for this, for putting himself out there and making a film with an all-black cast about this kind of subject matter, but not only that, but also telling the story in a very brave, bold and ambitious way. Story-wise, it was very unconventional. I was worried it might have been a little cliche, cheesy or cringeworthy in parts. Like sometimes films like this, there might be some moments that don't really work or some bits that are kind of unintentionally funny or a little bit cheesy or cliche. But this film was remarkably just so not cliche. There weren't any kind of cliche moments. It had this real palpable vibe that made it feel like you were watching real events unfold on screen. This film wasn't always an easy watch. It was actually quite uncomfortable to watch at times, but that was because it was so intimate and personal, and it was so up close and personal with these characters, and it really put the story across in a way that we were really able to connect with the main character and really relate to what he was going through. The film was also ultra naturalistic in that nothing was overplayed or over dramatised. Everything that transpired on screen did so in a way that felt so natural. It didn't feel like you were watching a constructed fictional story because it all came across in such a convincing and tangible way. The direction by Barry Jenkins was just breathtaking. It was shot on film, which helped even more to give the film that authentic feel, but also the camera work was nothing short of remarkable. The camera was rarely ever static. It was constantly moving around the environment, moving with the actors, which gave the film even more of a realistic feel. The camera was dominant when it needed to be as far as close-ups of the actors are concerned, but it was also a passive observer when it needed to be as well, flowing around the scene that made us as the audience feel like we were a part of the film. At times it almost felt like we were there side by side with the characters, witnessing these very personal events firsthand. The camera work was sometimes very close and intimate, giving the film an almost documentarian feel, but there were also other times when the camera work was also very lyrical and poetic. The best way I can put it was that, this is going to sound very odd, but it was kind of like a space opera, but about life instead. It was almost like a life opera, if you will. Also, I had to touch on the score. The idea of using classical music was such a genius touch from the director's part, I think, and I'm so glad he made that choice because it works so well. You think a film about these kind of characters, this kind of lifestyle, this kind of environment would have the kind of stereotypical kind of hip-hop, rap music and that, but having classical music, you'd think that would feel really out of place or not work at all, but it just fits so well. It didn't feel out of place at all, it just made so much sense. Also, I had to touch on the acting as well. The acting in this film is just flat out extraordinary. The performances were so good, it didn't feel like you were watching actors up there on the screen, it felt like you were watching real people in slices of real life. The casting was also spot on perfection. You never felt like you were watching 3 different people portraying the same character. The actors they chose were so perfect, it was never unconvincing, not for 1 second. It felt as if I was watching the same guy at different stages of his life. That's how good this film was. And also I have to touch on the performances by the supporting actors. Both Naomie and Mahershala Ali were great in this film. I was surprised if they don't win for Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress because they are both extraordinary. Especially Mahershala Ali. He only has a really small part in this film, but he makes such an impression at the beginning of the film. He plays such a big part in Jharrel's life as his kind of mentor, kind of almost father figure role, and he was really great in that small, brief but pivotal part, and I really hope he gets the recognition he deserves. And also Naomie was great as well as the mum. She was really good, and just all the acting in this film was extraordinary. As I said, you never felt like you were watching actors on screen, it felt like you were watching real people. That's how good it was. Also, the structure in this film was absolutely fantastic. It was very subversive actually in that it didn't follow the classic 3-act structure of a traditional film. It was split into thirds, so 3 kind of parts of equal length, focusing on 3 different stages of Chiron's life, and I'm really glad that they did that. I really liked the whole structure of the film. It wasn't some really long, boring, chronological narrative going through his entire life. It was 3 key stages in his life, and I liked how the film was split into these 3 parts of equal length, and I think that was really effectively done. Seriously, I just have not but one single criticism with this film. I didn't think I was going to end up loving it as much as everyone else. I didn't think it was going to be my kind of film. I didn't think it was going to be as great as everyone was making it out to be, but seriously it is. I literally don't have one single flaw with this film. I've been trying to think of something, but there's literally nothing I can think of. I mean, it's not a fast-paced film. It is quite slow, but then it wouldn't have made sense for this film to have been fast-paced. It's a kind of slow character drama about these characters, about relationships, about family. So it wouldn't have made sense if it was fast-paced, and it never got boring. I liked how it was always moving, the camera work was always moving, the story was always moving, and I liked how it was split into these 3 key periods of time in Chiron's life. So to say that it was quite slow or not fast-paced isn't really a valid criticism. Also, I can't see myself wanting to watch this film all the time. I don't think it's going to have that great of a rewatchability factor. But saying that, I don't think I'm going to watch it over and over again isn't really a valid criticism either, because yes, I might not end up watching it over and over again, but that doesn't in any way degrade the quality of the film. And I'm not judging this film based on rewatchability factor, I'm judging it based on the actual quality of the film itself. So I don't really have any valid criticisms at all. This film was really just practically flawless in my opinion. It really was remarkable. Overall, in short, Moonlight is quite simply an extraordinary piece of cinema, with an ultra-naturalistic vibe, masterful camera work and extraordinary performances throughout. Moonlight is a brave, bold and ambitious work of art, and nothing short of a masterpiece. With all that said, Moonlight, it absolutely has to get 5 stars. And I'll just finish off by saying this isn't going to be a film for everyone. This isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. But I really do feel like this is going to be the kind of film where the more time that passes, the more that you think about it, the more that you kind of digest it in your mind, the better it becomes. It might not be a film that initially blows people away straight off the bat, but with me anyway, it's a film where the more I'm thinking about it now and the more that time passes, the more it's growing on me and the better it seems to be becoming in my mind. Seriously, and that's the kind of film that I really like. You know, not necessarily a film that blows you away straight off the bat and then you go back and you're like, oh, it's not as great as I remember, but the film that makes an impression on you that you can't stop thinking about, and then the more time that passes, the more that you think about it, the better it becomes in your mind, and the more you come to appreciate it and respect how great a film it really was. I really do feel like this is a film that will probably stick with you and you can't stop thinking about, and that's the kind of film that I really love. And there we have it, that was a review of Moonlight. Have you seen the film yet? And if so, what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you like this and you haven't already, be sure to click subscribe to see more. But for now, I've been David O'Sullivan. I'll see you next time.